Well, thank you, Mayor and Council members. My name is Bob Weeks at 2451 Regency Lakes Court in Wichita. I had a couple questions about some numbers I saw in the agenda report, which was made available to the public on Friday. From the top of page 11, where there's the chart that shows the three versions of this TIF district, in this first amendment, the middle column, it says there's a total investment of $27.8 million with a market value of $33.8 million, which is good, I think. There's a higher market value than the investment going in. But for the revision that's presented today, the total investment is $46.5 million, while the market value is $41.7. So now this market value is less than the amount that is proposed to be invested. So I guess my first question is, how are these market values determined? Why now is the market value less than the investment, and should we be concerned about this?
Mayor?
Yeah.
I'd like to, that is a good question, and I could have staff address that, please.
I'm not sure I can answer the why part of it. I can answer what these numbers are comprised of. The market. This is the market value of the all of the Exchange Place development area. In other words, the bidding building, and the parking structures, and the Exchange Place apartments, and all of that. That's what goes into both the private investment, total investment, and market value. The increase in these numbers from the original project to the First Amendment represented an increase in the amount of debt and equity and tax increment financing that was put into the project. The market value was what was estimated at that time based on our tax increment financing analysis of what the total value of those buildings would be. Remember that in 2007 the project did not include the bidding building and was a considerably smaller project, both in terms of the residential component and the retail component, but also the parking. In the current amendment that's proposed, you've got approximately 30, this is based on information that we received from the HUD loan application form, and we took it off of that. It does not conform exactly with what the developers are representing. I've asked the developers for updated information on this and have not received it. So we've gone with what came off of the HUD form, and it shows that there was almost $30 million of HUD loan, almost $5 million of developer equity, and then the $11.6 million of TIF funding that adds up to $46 million. And the valuation, or the market value, comes again from the amount of the shown by the TIF analysis. The fact that there is more, that is obvious that the amount of investment has surpassed the increase in valuation. I think part of that is the way in which we've been conservative about how much the value would increase. If the condo conversion was included in this number, I believe that the market value would be considerably higher than the investment amount.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. My second question is, and I think I can answer the first part of it myself, is there property within the geographic boundaries of this TIF district that is not owned by real development? I think the answer to that question is yes, quite a bit. So here's a series of questions based upon that. Does the increment in their property taxes go to pay off the TIF bonds that will be issued? And what if one of these property owners wanted to obtain TIF increment financing, if they wanted their own TIF district for some other purportedly worthy project? Would they be eligible for a TIF district given that their property is already within a TIF district? And I guess a corollary to that is, would the fact that a property is in a TIF district but not receiving the benefit of TIF financing, would that serve as a deterrent for someone to buy and invest in that property? And I don't know if anybody answers that question. Let me just close with the remarks I have. I very much agree with the economic evidence that my friend John Todd presented to you. And, you know, people have been up here at this podium today talking about economic development, but the economic evidence we have is when we look at what's happened in cities that make extensive use of TIF districts, which Wichita certainly does, we find that overall growth in the city is slower than comparable towns that don't use TIF district. This is evidence that the TIF districts just move development to a politically favored part of town. This is not just a philosophy, I think that's fact. It's the common problem we have with the seen and unseen. We'll be able to see these developments being built downtown. We'll see all the people driving to work and so forth like that. Maybe that's a greenhouse gas issue, I don't know, but we'll see all that. What we won't see is the economic activity that doesn't happen, that's dispersed throughout the city, which I might add is in places where it's happening through free markets rather than through government direction. And I think these similar, it just comes down to the fact that tax-advantaged developers kill growth in other parts of town. Those remarks, I think, apply equally well to the next agenda item that you'll be picking up also as well. I think we would do well to consider an economic development strategy of low taxes for all, that if you come to Wichita and make an investment, we're not then going to ask you to pay higher taxes or accept lower services so that someone coming to town behind you, or just maybe wanting to build a movie theater, so that they don't have to have a subsidy that everybody else has to pay for. That seems to me that would be an economic development strategy that would be almost unprecedented throughout this country, instead of trying to come up with more tools in the toolbox week after week to figure out how we can dish out more money in subsidies. If we just stopped all that, that would be something very unusual and would really put Wichita on the map, I think. So those are just my remarks and the question, if anyone has an answer. Thank you.
Alan?
Yes, sir.
I don't have an answer. I'm just going to have Alan to answer your question for you.
The answer to the first question, as he indicated, is yes. The project area, the original Center City South TIF district does include property that has not been controlled by, redeveloped by, or owned by real development. And for that reason, we have included in our TIF analysis a particularly conservative feature in which we do not count any growth in income for properties other than those that I've listed in my presentation. And the reason for that is that when you make a tax increment financing district that's larger than the actual footprint of the property that's being redeveloped, you run the risk of double counting tax increment financing dollars in the future if you do a second project. And so we have to be careful about that. To safeguard against that, we have not counted the appreciation and property value of any property except for the real development property in this area. I believe those were the two principal issues that he had. The third question, I think, was, is it available to others? And the answer is yes. It depends on the project. It depends on the merits of the project and the economics of the project, but we would certainly not turn away at the staff level anybody interested in doing a redevelopment project in downtown Wichita. You had a question?
That's good. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you.